What's up, everybody? NanMan here with some more modern gameplay action for paper variety. Of course, we do have some MTGO content coming down the pipeline soon, but we've got some cool modern gameplay, and we've got a backlog of stuff. So I want to know, do you want to see any matches with Nadu in it? Are you happy it's gone? You don't want to see any more gameplay of it for a while? You want to just see the new stuff like the Hollow One deck that's kind of risen up? Because we can do that. I've got the backlog, or we can just see creativity, Hollow Ones, Dimir Murktide, stuff like that. So leave a comment. Let me know what type of decks you want to be able to see. But we've got a fun match for you today, Hollow One versus Creativity. Again, these are kind of decks that were a prominent powerhouse in Modern in the past that have since risen back up into more prominence. And, right now we're seeing the Indomitable Creativity deck kind of do the kind of land shenanigans that it does with Ren and 6, and just kind of looping the lands, building up. You want to be able to have those fetch lands, so when you want to go off and you want to be able to search for things like Dwarven Mine and stuff like that, you have access to more lands. Your main goal is to be able to cast the namesake of the deck, Indomitable Creativity, and get rid of those tokens, whether they're dwarves, whether they're treasures, and go and find some big scary thing like an Archon of Cruelty. On the other side, the Hollow One deck is, again, this deck, if you were playing in the early days of I say early days, like, the pre-Modern Horizon days, the 2015 to 2018 time period, you might have been familiar with Hollow One. It was really powerful deck when Faithless Looting was a thing, but it also utilizes other draw cards like Burning Inquiry, Goblin Lore, stuff like that. But we've got some new tools in here that has kind of risen it back up. Of course, Orcish Bowmasters, if you're running black in Modern, it's pretty much almost a no-brainer to be running at this point in time. There's some other fun cards that have been added in here. That Street Wraith, of course, helps us out, pay some life, cycle a card, do those sort of things. But our goal is to try to be able to cast a Hollow One for the price of for free. All right, normally Hollow One is a 4/4 creature, costs 5, but costs 2 less to cast per card that you've cycled or discarded. But we get a Lightning Bolt to clean up the Ren and 6, so we don't have to worry so much about that. And we're kind of building up for some powerhouse here. And one of the big reasons this deck is coming back is this Phoenix. Detective's Phoenix here. And you look at it and it goes, look, it's a 3 cost for a 2/2 flying haste. But the fact that it gives a creature haste because you can bestow it for 1 red and collecting evidence 6. When you're throwing Street Race and stuff in the graveyard, it's very easy to be able to just exile 2 cards and cast this for 1 red to bestow it there. You can also bestow it from your graveyard, so if it ever dies, you can kind of bring it back. So it gives you that big burst damage here, and kind of a nice way to be like, oh yeah, it's in my graveyard, I've cycled a bunch of stuff, let's play a Hollow One, or like a Nether Goyf, something scary, and now it's got haste and I'm swinging in. Oh, and it's got flying, so it gives the creature evasion. So this is the main reason why the deck has risen back up with the kind of Modern Horizons 3. And it's cool to see these types of decks with people still looking through the Modern Horizons 3 cards now that Nadu is gone, now that Grief is gone. We can kind of experiment a little bit more within that shell that's maybe not just like the energy stuff or, the more obvious powerhouses within Modern Horizons 3. Now we're seeing some other stuff that's like, oh yeah, Detective Phoenix is a good card. Why aren't we running it? And we found the right shell for it here. So big burst aggro play here, kind of a land go right now for a creativity player. Again, it takes a lot of setup. We're just going to hard cast another Phoenix here, which again is fine because, worst case, the board gets wiped. There's not as many like board wipe effects for creativity in the main board. It's a lot more single target hate. Big swing coming out. And we're going to see responses here. Bolt killing off the Bowmaster. It's like that debate, right? Oh, do I kill something else here to save some damage? But in the chance that you end up drawing cards or doing things, killing the Bowmaster makes a lot of sense. And now we're going to go get rid of that Phoenix. We'll do our Leyline Binding here to kind of exile that away. Now, let me know if I'm messing up the life totals because I left my other camera phone at home, so we did not have the life total one, so I'm doing all this by hand, and it's such a pain in the butt. But we get our nice little Dwarven Mine coming out here, so that means a dwarf was created in the process. All right, pass back over. We've still got lots of creatures out that we have to worry about. The Goyf's pretty scary. I do have the Goyf dice, but I must have forgot to leave my big dice out that you normally see on camera. It happens. That's how it works. So we'll do some blockies on the Goyf because it's the biggest thing. We'll end up taking 3 here. Go to 6. We have a... All right, here's another new addition from Bloomborough. Paw Patch Formation. This card is, like, surprisingly good. It was good in the era of Nadu, but it's still good now, right? It's all this kind of relevant text. I'm making a food token. I'm destroying an enchantment. Destroying a creature with flying. All right, you can sit there and be able to kill some pesky enchantments that exist because there's quite a few powerful ones within Modern. Things like Urza's Saga, things like the Leyline Binding, stuff like that. But also, you want to make tokens with Indomitable Creativity. So food tokens, dwarves, stuff, treasure tokens that you can eventually cast an Indomitable and be able to pop off and go from there. Also, worst case, you can gain 3 life. And let's swing in. So we can at least do some responding here. Try to get another Dwarven Mine. Get another blocker. Jump him in the way of the Nether Goyf. Gain 3. Ooh, in response before blockers here. Here's a Bowmasters. Let's shoot your lovely little dwarf that you've made. Let's gain 3 life. This will be dead. That gets bigger. 7 damage altogether puts him to 1. So Goyf's a 4/4. We try for a kill right there. So with Orcish Bowmaster out and our opponent is low enough, Burning Inquiry would kill them. So that's that nice little added bonus that Orcish Bowmaster adds, is if you get your opponent low enough and you just be able to chain things like Burning Inquiries together, you just kill them. Be like, all right, please draw 3 cards. You have no way to stop me from drawing cards. Probably, but they were able to hit with the Spell Pierce, so we got to see it. But that was just a kind of straightforward aggro game that you got to see there, kind of what the Hollow One was trying to do. We're going to see game 2. We get access to a little bit more sideboard options. Some players are running things like Anger of the Gods, Elvish Norns, some scarier cards to bring in here. But we will see a little cheeky, sneaky peek there. With hey, there's a bolt in hand. But we see a straight Wraith coming out to start things out. Because, again, if you are able to draw into something crazy and get a Hollow One out on turn 1, right, that would be awesome. A Street Wraith into a Burning Inquiry to start off would get you to cast that for free. But maybe we get a Flameblade Adept, Nether Goyf. Some other turn 1 play here would be nice. There's the Burning Inquiry. So we're hoping to jam down a Hollow One on turn 1 if we're lucky. So each player with Burning Inquiry. So both players will draw 3 cards and are going to discard 3 at random. So we're going to lay out our hands, which is so many cards. Boom, boom, boom. These 3 go. Double Surgical and another Burning. Hey, those are some cool sideboard cards. It would be a shame if somebody were to make you discard them. Look at did you see that? He snuck. He said, "Don't worry about this card over here." Here he says, let's get rid of that one and these 2. A Vault and Elvish Norn. Okay. Lightning Bolt, Elvish Norn, and a Sacred Boundary discard on the other side. All right, so no turn 1 Hollow One, but, maybe setting things up for it. Let's do a Thoughtseize. Oh. A double Creativity in here. And we're also sitting with a Prismatic Ending, it looks like, as well. I didn't update the life total. So if you're looking at it and go, this player should be at 2 less life. You're right. They should be. And you see them marking it down on their life total pads. I need to, I need to keep that phone ready just for it, so I don't have to sit here and do the life totals each time. But there's the Flameblade Adept. We talked about the other potential like one drop that you're hoping to hit within the first couple turns. And if you're sitting here and doing that Burning Inquiry, this thing gets scary quick. It's got Menace, so it's got that evasion, very hard to block, and getting very big very quickly. Where you're just like, oh, I cast one Burning Inquiry, and now I'm swinging for 4 damage. Seems pretty good. All right. Renin 6, let's get some lands back. Hey, Prismatic Ending, clear the path. All right, so now our Hollow One player is trying to piece something together here. They've got a couple options. We see a Phoenix in hand, we see Orcish Bowmaster in hand, and we see the Inti, our newest card. He's not from Bloomborough, but you know, he's newer to Modern, if you will, within 2024, right? Can we count that as a newer card? It's so hard to keep track with so many sets coming out in such quick succession there that you might have missed many cards, but they're starting to see a couple sprinkled in here. Go, oh yeah, this card's pretty good. This card will fit in this deck. All right, we're gonna do some Bowmaster, trying to get some pinging, trying to get in here, have some threats, and hopefully get the kind of same plan of, all right, if I can, ping this down, do some bolts, swing in for some damage. But no, it's going to be met with a reprieve, the updated version of Remand, returning a spell instead of countering it. Allows them to kind of cycle, draw a card, but just kind of keeping our Hollow player on the back foot, not really able to develop anything. This is kind of really looking good for our Creativity player, and like that advantage meter is definitely leaning more to the right side of the screen at this point. One of these days, maybe we'll get an advantage meter and just kind of fill it up. Maybe if we get back to doing the commentary stuff over on Twitch again, that'll be a little while away, since we're kind of doing more RTS side of things and MTGO content over on Twitch, and trying to keep our paper Magic stuff just to YouTube for everybody to enjoy over here. But speaking of which, we do have a lot of MTGO content coming, because we are now a member of the MTGO Creator Program. So we get to start doing more leagues. We're going to start doing some giveaways for points, so people can get some play points for playing on MTGO. We'll probably do a little giveaway coming up in the near future, so keep an eye out for that. There's, of course, giveaways on Twitter. You guys can check that out in case anyone still has the Twitter side of things. But we'll do some also just for YouTube views and all of you viewers out here enjoying our Modern content. All right, another little big burst coming out with our Detective Phoenix. Let's kind of burst it up. It says, hey, this one has haste, this one does not, so let's drop that Ren down to 1 loyalty. Still good burst. Dwarven Mine, though. Well, let's build up our token count. We know that there's another Indomitable still in hand, so we're in this like, okay, well, let's see what happens. I mean, you need 4 mana, really. Yeah, let's kill that. Let's play another Dwarven Mine. Gets us another token here. Yep, there it is. So we got 2 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana was enough to get rid of both of those tokens. And let's see what we find. So we're going to start, we're destroying those, and then we're going to reveal until we reveal creature. Archon of Cruelty is number 1, and number 2 is going to be Iona. Let's name a color, and you cannot cast that color anymore. And he says, nope, let's scoop it up there. Archon, of course, making your opponent sacrifice, discard a card, lose 3 life. You get a draw card, you gain 3 life. It's kind of a really powerful card, and one of the main reasons that this deck is still a thing, because if you're able to stick an Archon, most people can't deal with that here. So we're going to be all tied up 1-1 going into this game 3 here. And a turn 1 Flameblade Adept is a great start there. We also see a Hollow One in our opponent's hand here, just hoping to try to burn our way into a nice little sneak out of that. But Indomitable Creativity, kind of what you'd expect. Land go to start things off on turn 1. It's not really known for the kind of cantrippy play. It's not designed in mind. It's kind of the land go reactionary to creatures and kind of built up that way. But there's the Burning Inquiry. Both players are going to draw 3 cards here and discard 3. Do we get any way to deal with this? Do we have a Spell Pierce here? How are we going to go about it? Fetch, Shock, and the color sources we're going to be getting. Ooh, Stomping Ground. So no Spell Pierce. So what is our response? Not going to be a Prismatic Ending leading us towards a Bolt. Yeah, there's the Bolt. Okay, Bolt's going to come out, clear up that. Not going to want to take 4 damage, which is very nice. There's 3 extra cards getting drawn. He says, let me look at it, see what I got. Our Hollow One player jokes and says, never look. All right, 1. Oh, mixing it up again. 2. Oh, that's not bad. Oh, 2 draw spells and a Flame Blade. Actually, that's probably pretty nice. But whenever you're doing that, you're always sitting here under that freak out mode, assuming that your opponent has a Hollow One in hand. And you're like, please let me hit the Hollow One. Please let me hit the Hollow One. There is a Street Race cycle again. Pay 2 life, draw a card. And that's going to be the 4th card discarded. So that means this Hollow One costs absolutely nothing. 4/4 there. And then again, if we throw a Phoenix on top of that, all right, turns it into a 6/6 flyer. That gets really scary very quickly. So looks like we have Beseiju is going to be our play here. We're setting up here, just kind of land go. Again, that's a lot of what creativity is trying to do. I'm just going to like wait and then respond to what you do once you start attacking or doing stuff. And there's the Beseiju. So this will allow, of course, to search up for a basic land type. Means you can get shock lands, you can get surveil lands, or if you want to run basics in your deck, you can get those too. And we'll pick the surveil land, which is great. Again, in Modern, you need at least 1. It's crazy, but that's kind of the way it is. Get at least 1. It'll be worth it. All right. Here's our Goblin lore this time. So this is a one-sided one. Draw 4 cards, discard 3 cards at random. So where Burning Inquiry is for both players, this one's just for one player. 1, 2, Surgical, another sideboard, and another Flame Blade. So what is that? 3 Flame Blades sitting in the graveyard now? Do we got another Hollow One? Do we got any other responses? Okay, so we got a Street Wraith. So that would be card number 4, so a Hollow One would be free. Do it again. So this is that like decision-making time here, right? You're looking, you want to dig for a threat, but you are pretty much tapped out here. Do you save the Street Race and hope for another big turn, or at least have 2 cards to make a Hollow One cheaper if you draw it this time? Here's a Thoughtseize, though. All right. We have responses. Are we dealing with this? Ooh, Orm's Chant. So this is silence, right? You can kick it there and get the extra, but the whole point of it is basically just shutting down what your opponent is doing. Target player can't cast spells this turn. If the spell is kicked, creatures can't attack. Well, we don't have to worry about creatures attacking. We're not caring about the kicker this turn, but we really care about our opponent having follow-ups after the Thoughtseize. So playing that really just kind of buys us a turn here, basically saying, hey, you don't get to do anything else, and now I get to try to set up a little bit more. Maybe I can try to draw into a creativity or something along those lines, and we're going to be going and getting our own Surveil land off of this. You have a Dwarven Mind and a Reprieve in hand. Oh. Is this cards in hand? 3. All right, let's try to stick a Fable the Mirror Breaker. We talked about making tokens. So this Snubble we see here is the 2/2 red goblin that creates treasures when it attacks. I'm always a big fan of using like Pokemon cards or Yu-Gi-Oh cards or Lorcana cards, you know, like switching up cards for your tokens. I like that a lot. I've been enjoying using One Piece cards when I'm making tokens as well, but what kind of tokens do you guys like? Do you just go for the basics? All right, here's Inti, the 2/2. When it attacks, discard a card. You can be able to put the +1 counter on it, but we are going to be hitting it with the haste here because we're bestowing that Detective Phoenix. We've been cycling all those Street Race, throwing those into the graveyard, so now this is going to be a bit scary to deal with. So Inti there is a 2/2, becomes a 4/4, and then, of course, when you attack, we can discard a card. If you do, put a +1 counter on target attacking creature. It gains trample, so we make Inti a little bit bigger. So that's 5 damage coming across right there. Boom, big hit, drop to 9. Creativity now is kind of still in the setup phase. Oh, we draw an Anger here. Not really what we're hoping for. It's a little late, all right? Works out great in the early stage, especially against all those Flame Blades, but we've been able to kind of get rid of those, put all those in the graveyard. After all, there's 3 in there now. So now we're in this kind of like, all right, we have to try to dig for creativity. And we've got a lot of mines going on here. Dwarven Mines in hand, sitting at 2. Creating a treasure token. Yeah, I guess we just kind of hope that we can rip a creativity off the top here. Discard this Ox. So this will become even bigger. 6 damage. Puts him to 3. He says, "You got the bolt? Am I dead here?" It's like he's just sitting there going, "Okay, I know you discarded a reprieve off of the mirror breaker, so here's the bolt. Response. Fetch." And shock myself. I love it. I love that. Going out in your own terms, bolting yourself, shocking yourself, you know, any of that fun stuff, you know. You love to see it. But what did you guys think of the Hollow One deck? Have you played against it? Have you played with it yet? It's kind of popping up quite a bit more, but it's very fast, very aggressive, but you have to be careful if you're fighting against Bowmasters and stuff like that because all the drawing effects that you're doing could come back to bite you there. But worked out very well getting the aggro plan against creativity, but we are going to be showing you guys more of these decks in the future. So make sure you're following, subscribing, all that good stuff. But that's going to do it for us here today. Thanks so much for tuning in and watching, everybody, and I'll see you all next game.